They told me Karachi wasn't the place for a b-boy. They told me parkour was just jumping off the walls for no reason. But here's the truth. The same discipline it takes to land a backflip is the same discipline it takes to close a ₹1 million sale. Hi, I'm Dwayne Lucas, and I've spent my life turning difficulties into done. From the streets to the boardroom, I've realized one thing. If you believe small, you stay small. This show isn't just about my story, it's about yours. We're talking about life, business, and the relentless pursuit of passion. I've seen so many people around me with incredible talent, but they're all paralyzed by the what if. What if I fail? What if people laugh? I've been a trainer, an artist, a salesman, and a strategist. I found my passion in dance, but I realized my power when I realized that being an artist is about loving the grind. I learned sales not because I loved the money, but because I wanted a better life and I refused to let my circumstances define my ceiling. I've helped people change their lives before, and now I want to do it on a global scale, regardless of the haters, regardless of the noise. My philosophy? It's pretty simple, actually. When you focus on the positive, there's nothing you can't achieve. That sounds cliche until you've lived it. In parkour, if you look at the ground, you hit the ground. You have to look at the landing. And in sales, if you focus on rejection, you don't get the deal. You have to focus on the value. I'm here to tell you that your passion isn't a hobby, it's a fuel. I'm here to help you bridge the gap between being a dreamer and being a doer. I might change the world, or I might fail. But the one thing I will never do is live my life wondering what if. If you're ready to stop thinking small and start moving with purpose, then hit the subscribe button. We're going to talk about the things no one else is talking about. How to turn your art into business and your passion into a legacy. This is the first step. Let's get to work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Before we go forward with giving the show a name, we still are on the journey of figuring it out. I would like to welcome you all to episode number 3, and today's episode is extremely special to me. I'm so happy and I'm so glad that I get the chance to introduce you to my brother from another mother, somebody who I've grown up with, and I want you guys to understand our journey, our stories, and he's one of the people that inspired me to do this. I wouldn't have never done episode 1 without him. He's somebody that loves to stay behind the camera. He's a master behind the camera, at least in my eyes. And I forced him today to come in front of the camera and on the mic. Good day, Mr. Syed Saad. How are you?
Doing, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you, Sadhu, for doing this with me. It is just a conversation like जिस तरह हम normal बात करते हैं. ये वही वाला system.
No, I know, but you know, it's very different when you're doing a podcast for someone, like when you're shooting for someone, and then when you're being in the podcast.
That's the problem with you, na? The problem is you love staying behind the camera, but you gotta come in front of the camera. You do your vlogging when you travel. That time you're very comfortable. But what happens when you're sitting in one place?
Well, that's different. But yeah, but I'm really happy, and thank you so much for having me here. I was obviously, when I was doing your first intro, I never thought that I would be the one in the podcast.
Nah, bro, what do you mean? I mean, the point of the podcast, and this is why I love whoever's watching and whoever's tuning in or whoever even views it. It's like you said, no expectations, but keeping it real, keeping it something that I believe is right. And I don't think I would be able to feel right if you were not here to do this with me. The fact that you are no longer living in this country and I no longer have accessibility to your time is the reason why I was like, I have to get this done. So thank you once again for taking time out for me. I know you're sick, I know you're tired, I know you're fed up, you want to go back.
Yeah, it's been crazy since the time I'm here. So
yes, for sure. Sadhu, you have for the longest time inspired me to do things that are uncomfortable for me, and you've I've realized that every time you've inspired me to do something like this, it has never failed. You know, whether it was with the team, whether it was with the crew, whether it was with work, whether it was with anything else, you've been that kind of person that has always given me the ability to, you know, say, kar le yaar, kale, kar le yaar. And I like that about you, and I love that about you, and it's so good for me to have people like you in my circle. And I want to let you know that I'm so appreciative of everything. And as I was shooting this intro, I was also saying the same thing, you know, that I was going to introduce the people and introduce people to certain people that have inspired me. Well, you're one of them, you know, so I would like to thank you for being here. But we're going to talk about some things that I think are very important for people to know. And the most important one is your story. You've been somebody who has really grinded, in my eyes at least. I've seen you go through days when you've been driving and you've been crying. I've seen you go through days when you've been smiling and laughing. I've seen you do things while you've been dancing, and I've seen you do things while you're off the camera, from EXD to the School of Urban Movement to everything else. You've given your heart and soul into your work. So yes, I know you've already told me सवाल पूछो मैं जवाब दे दूंगा, तो ये बहुत लंबी सवाल है. Tell me about your story.
If we go back in the time, it all started like specifically dance was one of the biggest booster ever in my life. I would say back in 2008, one of my cousins showed up from the Bronx and did couple of dance moves. At that time, I got really inspired and got into it. What is this? क्या चीज़ होती है? उल्टा पुल्टा हो रहा है ये क्या कर रहा है? And then slowly, gradually, when I started getting into it, क्योंकि तब इतना internet access नहीं था. A lot of things were not accessible, so I started doing. I knew that there is something which I can do. I was into popping, I was into all of that, but I never knew what it's called. You know, कि आपको पता नहीं होता, you're doing some ऐसे moves कर रहे हो and you don't know what exactly it is. So then slowly, gradually in 2009, I would say that I passed by a guy named Imran. I would take the name, and he introduced me what NCC is. NCC जो stadium के पास है. हाँ. And in NCC I met Sunky King and Unknown Crew. Yeah. In Sunky King, Unknown Crew, and then Sunky King introduced me to Oh Shit. So it was a very very weird introduction के अब चलते हुए जा रहे हो और एक बंदा plank मार रहा है and you don't know what he is doing. वो सजा दिन आया था. फिर तुम थोड़ा सा ऊपर जाओगे, एक बंदा crab freeze पे बैठा हुआ है, सो रहा है, ऐसे करके वो P-boy Oh Shit है. सही है. तो इस तरीके से introduction हुआ. Then they saw me dancing. I got into that group. Dance की journey वहाँ से शुरू हुई, and then Act 1 Planet भी हुआ. Act 1 Planet भी हुआ. I got to meet you guys. सबसे पहला battle हुआ EXD versus Unknown Crew. अब EXD की तरफ से तो XXX भी है, FSB भी है, सब कुछ है. And then it was a battle. And then after that, I started understanding and the love of what crew and family is. Crew एक लोगों के लिए पूरी दुनिया में crew is a different thing, because it's more about dancing. You're being very professional. You come in, you train in, and you compete, you participate, and you go. But what I saw in EXT at that time was that एक brotherhood type वाला scene था. You know, that's one of the reasons. And then I remember you guys won the title. Yeah. And then the same day I was picked up by you in the crew, which I would never forget, and I'm really thankful for that. Because that's one of the major reason I am here and I am what I am today, because I got to meet you, I got to meet the family. I learned that it's more than dance. Yeah. Dance is
it was always more than
dance is something else. And then bro, along with that, I was pretty much inspired by the people I was meeting. We did a couple of theaters together. But people do not know we have been a very long journey. We have done theaters together, we have done shows, we have done award shows, we have done so many things you guys can think of together as a crew. And I remember, I would not forget that like I was in my teens, and that time apart from my father, Dwayne's father, Uncle Derek Lucas, he supported me in terms of a lot of things in life. And not only that, by being with the whole family, by being with the whole crew, I started learning that what can I do. And you know, these kind of things, because आप अपने crew के साथ रह रहे हो, you're doing a lot of things, तो आपको एक booster मिलता है जिसमें you also start exploring things you want to do. Yeah. it's something which you don't get it because होता है ना, you are very shy and you are skeptical at the fact कि आप अपने बाप के सामने वो बात नहीं करोगे जो कि आप अपने दोस्त के बाप के सामने कर सकते हो.
बिल्कुल.
Very simple. So by being that, I was very inspired by this camera, and if you remember, I used to have this small little camera.
Absolutely, yes.
So I used to have this camera, and I wanted to be behind the camera. I wanted to shoot. You know, I was into photography, filming and stuff. वो करते. It's been a journey. And then after that, by the time I was 20, I got married.
Yes.
I got married to my best friend, and then obviously got 3 kids now.
Yeah.
And then it's been a journey. But out of all of this, what I've learned, to be honest, if you ask me about my journey, is that comfort zone. If you break your comfort zone, this is one of the things which I would want to tell everyone, that if you break your comfort zone, you can achieve wonders, you can do wonders, because this is something which people don't understand. They say कि हमारी एक अच्छी सी नौकरी लगी हुई है and we are good to go. कब तक है, जब तक चल रही है चला लेंगे.
बिल्कुल.
But in my dictionary, I don't think so. There is something like that exists. I know whatever is written and planned by God will be done, but comfort zone is one of the biggest thing which actually eat everybody up in terms of not moving out.
Yeah.
So वो चीज़ मैंने सीखी, and that was my one of the biggest breakthrough towards me leaving a very, very, very good life in Pakistan, Karachi, and moving to Dubai and starting from this guy.
So let's talk a little bit about it, because I know that it was so difficult at that time when you were planning on leaving, and you had so many things on your head and you had so many things that you had to do. And then I remember Eliana was very small at that time.
Yeah.
And you know, you were at that particular phase in your life where you just took the step. And you know, I was so proud of you, because I was like, damn, look at this guy, man. Like, none of us have the balls to even think about this, but you just didn't give a shit. And that kind of like is what I love having people like you around with me, is because y'all give the courage to me that it's not a stupid decision. And to be very honest, where you are right now, it shows, you know, because I've seen people make dumb decisions, and I've seen people make stupid decisions only because they believe that they're right. You know, they believe that they're, and don't get me wrong, I'm all in favor of you trying to do that. Great. If that works for you, then good. If that's what you kind of believe. But I think the mentality of making those kind of decisions is what determines how stupid it is, how dumb it is, and how profitable it is. You know, and your mentality towards it and the approach you have towards it is so beautiful. So you just told me when you came back that you started your own thing in Dubai.
Yeah.
And you cannot believe how happy I am at this particular point in time to know that. Not because you're doing your own thing or you're a hustler or whatever the case may be, but to be very honest, because I'm so happy that you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
Okay? Tell me a little bit about this, man.
Okay, so by being in Dubai, I visited Dubai in 2020, I would say. And then I was back and forth. When you visit Dubai as a visitor, it's different. It's beautiful, it's amazing. But when you're actually living there, it's totally a different thing. It is very nice, but it's just like you get through a lot of hardships. So starting this venture is basically after a good amount of struggle of 3.5 years. I realized that, you know, okay, job is there again. You have to move out. See, again, I left the comfort zone from here, moved there. And then I was struggling, and then I got the job, and then again I was in my comfort zone. So I was like, let's just leave that. And it turned out really, really good. I know it's, man. Again, people say, okay. So I also tell myself, what if it doesn't work? Okay, no, I will move to a next thing. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
If you stop, then there is no point of, because it's all about break your comfort zone, move to the next thing, because you will achieve, man. This is something which people don't understand. It was like, what if today I have the company and I'm making a capital of something, and then tomorrow, what if it fails? If it fails, bro. You move to the next part.
Absolutely.
That's how it is. And then with this one also, I was, a lot of people were loving the fact that the services I was providing there, because it's a competitive market.
Very.
So in terms of marketing, in terms of podcast studios, in terms of commercial videos, personal branding, there's plenty of companies out there. And a big shout out to my company, who I'm currently still working on, is One Broker Group. They supported me a lot in the whole journey.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got to meet a lot of people, started working with a lot of big giants. I got to meet such big people out there. like in terms of developers, because it's all about real estate.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty big market.
Yeah,
So
so
you've always been very creative. You've always had the ability to like kind of see an eye behind the camera that people have not, been able to grasp. Like I love the fact that when you've been doing videos for us, because mostly all of the best videos that we have on the XD channel are edited by you, shot by you, done by you, everything has been done by you. And mostly I think that is where I've seen like our 10-year anniversary jam ka jo show reel tumne banaya tha, the Ghana you used, the way you had things going, and now with my bloody intro, my God, the work you do, and I didn't expect anything that you were going to do, and I love that I get to put this on camera. That intro, I sat here and I tried to shoot it over and over and over and over again because I was so scared, I was so hesitant. मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा था. It was the first time, and I remember you said, "दे दो मुझे, कर दूंगा मैं, क्या मसला है?" And I only asked you for B-rolls, but dude, I love my intro. I don't care if anybody else loves it. I love the intro that you made me, and I like the fact that I'm going to consistently use this now for a very long time. Lambi intro hai, I don't care. देख रहे बार-बार लोग तुम्हारा काम देखेंगे. But it's so good that you've always had an eye for something creative when very, very different, and I've loved that about you from day one. Now as you do this in a business, what sort of a perspective are you taking for the market that you're in? Like people are obviously, I mean, already you're working with the big giants, you've seen the thing, but what would you advise somebody who's up and coming photographer or an up and coming videographer who's just decided, or some kid that's watching this right now and decided to just pick up a camera? What is a piece of advice you could tell him that could help him or her or anybody just find a creative side to being behind that camera?
See, it's all about like if there is a kid who wants to do photography, or anybody, in terms of camera, is basically it's a different connection between a human, and because it's not that easy. Whatever you see from your eyes, you put that into a camera, is an art. That's why there are photographers. That's why there are videographers. See, what I say is, there's a couple of things which people actually make big mistakes with photography, with videography and stuff. That's, they don't be consistent. They care about a lot of perfection, that I want the best of the best of. Never think about all of that, because that will actually slow down the process. Take 100 pictures, pick up the best of the best out of this. It will still be worse. The first month it will be worse for the pictures you have taken, second month, third, but eventually you will be better. I was the worst, I would say. I was the worst when I would still say that I'm still learning. Every single day I'm learning. You never know, I learned something now while talking to you. Learning never stops, and my advice to all of these guys is be consistent, work on your personal branding. Just don't show what you have captured, show the process. Yeah. How you have captured, how you made this video, how you made this film. It's all the process, because people see the end product and judge you. They don't know how you did that.
Exactly. Like I say this a lot, like, people are jealous of what you have, they're not jealous of how you got it. And I say this a lot because I can understand, and you are one person that's also I like to bring this up, that you're also a bloody good seller, huh? You know how to sell. You've been doing sales for quite a while. So, I've understood the way you've had that. I learned a lot in sales from you in terms of the couple of advice that you've provided to me at the time that I was initially kicking off. Because I remember when I joined this industry, you were already ahead in it at that time. Sabse pehle, I've seen you drive a Civic and roam around in it and stuff. And you were doing pretty good, like before the industry even had an industry, Why was sales so important to your art, like, as an artist? Because at least that's what I consider you. Behind the camera, you're a bloody artist. The things you do with that camera are boggling. How is it, that your sales skills or your sales mentality helped you push that a little bit more? Like,
big time. See, the thing is that what I've learned through my sales career, when I was here for like 7.5 years. I gave to software industry. Started from 2015 and going towards 2021.
Yeah.
Similar to somewhat of that. When I went to Dubai and when I started my own venture and stuff like that, it's nothing big, by the way. The venture is not big, but still too, it helped me kicked off big time in terms of getting a client on board. It's easy for me. So the thing was that the very first time when I was pitching this client, in my mind, whatever I was telling him, it was all imaginary.
Yes, absolutely.
I had no case study, nothing. And then this guy was like, okay, fine. So have you done this? Yeah. Have you done this? Yeah. How have you done this? The only thing is that since I've been relevant to the industry, I knew if he's talking about meta ads, if he's talking about ad films, whatever he's talking about, I'm very well aware about that. You don't have the case study. Use your brain at that time. Show the confidence. Just act as if you know everything, but you should know everything. It's not like, because you need to start from somewhere.
Absolutely.
If you don't, so if you don't have the clientele, this is one of the way you make it, because you just need one chance. And if you have that one chance, you can actually go up high to the sky by taking the ladder, because you don't know, you're finding the steps.
Yeah, you gotta be an executionist more than you need to be a dreamer.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of this. The whole point is to be a doer, not a dreamer. And people need to figure out ways to bridge the gap. And I think that as we do life in general, as we experience life in general, it's something that a lot of people don't really understand, because they're dreaming about all the dreams that they want to achieve, but they don't want to take the first step to do it, and they don't do it out of fear, they don't do it out of regret, they don't do out of the lack of, oh, I don't have this yet, oh, I don't have that yet, अरे यार मेरे पास ये नहीं है, जब ये आ जाएगा तो मैं ये कर लूँगा, इंशाल्लाह जब ये हो जाएगा तो मैं ये कर लूँगा. And I feel like it stops a lot of people from actually achieving what they could have in 6 months, what they could have in 3 months. They take another 5 years or 6 years to go ahead and have it. They take another 25 to 30 years to go ahead and have it. And that's what I love that we get to have business talks. Raat ko chai ke time, sutta ke time pe we get to have these business talks. तुम बोल दे, तुमने बोला कर दिया ब्रो, गेम डाल दिया तेरे भाई ने, ये जो तुम गेम डालते हो ना, I love it bro, I love it. And I hope so many other people, and I've seen so many other people, Saad, who have had similar skill sets, who have had similar approaches in life, who've been married, who've had kids, who've just generally been hit with life's burdens too, in terms of the take care of the house responsibilities, mama ka khayal rakho, bhai behnon ka khayal rakho, pure ghar ka khayal rakho. I mean, you've always been that guy too. Tum jabhi bhi dekho, you're either there for this one, either there for that one, either this for there, either this for there, and you don't give yourself a break. And I understand why today, because the whole point of you being that person is because that's who you are. And that's kind of what gives you the ability to do the very same thing with your business.
Agreed.
Right?
Now, I've been brought up that way, you can say, doing
right.
All of us together. When we've been together, we know how to take care of the real ones.
Yeah.
Because this world is cruel, you know it very well.
Yep.
They say that you do it wrong, but to do it now. Because if you keep on thinking about it, I'll do it when I have this, I have that, you would never get it.
Yeah.
So it's just a process, and I would say that if everybody actually just work towards the goal and leave the comfort zone, everything is achievable. What's the least can happen? आप यहाँ से यहाँ गिर जाओगे, बस. That's the maximum would work, ना? क्या
right. Absolutely. उससे ज़्यादा क्या हो सकता है? मतलब आज है, कल
नहीं है. And you don't forget, you started from nothing.
Yeah. Bro, I think from a religious point of things as well. I mean, and this is something that I want to ask you a little bit, because I mean, if in terms of religion, you and I share two different spectrum boards of one of the biggest religions on the planet.
Yeah.
Right. And I think from that standpoint of view too, the factor that we believe in God, and we leave everything to God's great mercy, and we say, it is what it is. He's decided it for us. When God's on your side, or when God's in your favor, what's the worst that could happen? Like, you know, that's all I'm thinking about.
That's how it is.
You know, and if tomorrow नहीं है तो नहीं है, उसने decide कर दिया कि नहीं है आपके पास, you know, but इसने ये नहीं decide किया कि आपने वहीं रहना है, वो आपके ऊपर वो डाल देता है. I love the fact that, you know, so I've been studying Islam as a religion too, and thanks to you, thanks to Abba, may his soul rest in peace, who introduced this concept of loving your brother regardless of a border or regardless of religion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And you know, I love the fact that when we were young, your dad came to me and he said ke beta, you're a Christian. I said yes uncle. And he said तो आप साथ के साथ दोस्ती कैसे हो गई? I said uncle क्योंकि वो बहुत अच्छा डांसर है, हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा उसका डांस, तो हम डांस करते थे. And I sat down with your dad and I had a very beautiful conversation. You know, it was really nice for me to study your religion with no judgment, with no, I would say, with no thought. It was just, why not, yaar? Mera bhai karta hai. I learned to respect it so much, you know, and it taught me the very same thing that you're talking about right now. कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा, you know, अगर worst case scenario नहीं है हमारे पास तो नहीं है, ठीक है, कोई मसला नहीं है, इसका मतलब ज़िंदगी ख़त्म तो नहीं हुई है.
Exactly.
You know.
Because we started from the bottom. और हम लोग के पास at that time we had nothing.
Yeah.
And I always sometimes think about it कि today if I have the money and today if I have that a little bit of power, fame, whatever it is there, and tomorrow if it's not there, so what?
Yeah.
Agar if I have that hunger to make it, to get back up again, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's the only ideology I believe in, because I've literally seen, everybody has seen the worst in their life. I've seen the worst in my life as well. When I see there's no one.
Yeah.
You know, you have someone at your back to support you, like your father or something like that. But at a stage, sometimes you actually realize you literally have no one standing behind you, and you are on your own. And there are people who are looking up at you because you are something to them.
Yeah.
So like your wife, your kids, some of your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why that's something which can hit you really hard, and then it makes you realize that, bro, I'm gonna run and I'm gonna get this at any cost.
Absolutely.
And that's the
You're living one life, then why aren't we running after the things that we want?
Honestly.
At our wildest pace?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so complicating for me sometimes, you know, when I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you guys, and like, you know, how our crew is, and we just did our 15-year anniversary. So
Yes,
very
years,
recently. And I think after being in this crew, and when I founded it, I didn't have any expectations of it to be 15 years, but 15 saal I've been friends with you guys.
Yeah.
15 saal we've been together, we're family more than anything else at this point. And इस पूरे 15 साल के अंदर जो मुझे एक चीज़ जो मैंने I've learned from you specifically is you've always had this ability of just going for it, you know. And when you used to decide to do breaking at one point, I'm not sure if you remember, but when I used to tell you guys करना है, तुम popper थे, मैंने बोला नहीं breaking करनी है, तुमने you started learning the hollow back, you started learning the footworks, क्योंकि you were like तो इन्हें बोला करना है तो करना है. And I love this, you know, I love this factor that I could always push you guys to do so much. And as we grew up in life, you all started doing the very same thing with me, you know. You all started telling me the very same thing कि doing कर ले, you know. And your words that you do, like when you call me from Dubai and you go like कर ले काले कर ले, you know.
ज़रूरी है ना.
It gives me a good vibe, it gives me a good understanding to everything that it is. So I mean, it's something that I'm really appreciative of. I'm glad you came on this podcast with me. I'm glad you sat down. I'm glad we could have this kind of a conversation where people can understand, you know, who Syed Saad really is to me specifically, and everything that I've ever learned from you. I think as friends, a lot of people are not blessed. with having friends who are genuinely there to support you whenever you need it. I hope I'm able to be that friend for you always.
Always, bro.
And I'll be very straightforward. You are one of those guys to me. You've always had my back regardless.
Yeah.
So as somebody for you, I'm always going to be there at your back whenever you need me at your best. I think that's what the whole concept of us growing together as human beings from very different spectrums of life, from very different places of life. We came together, connected with dance, and then alhamdulillah we came to a point jahan abhi filhal aisa connection I don't think I have with anybody else as the kind of connection I have with you. So tell me one last question I have before we go ahead and finish this. Sidhu, here's the question I have for you.
Okay.
All these years, 15 years down the line, your journey that you've experienced, what's next?
Okay, so usually when somebody asks this kind of question, you end up saying that I haven't figured out. But in my scenario, I am gonna excel in the same field I am right now. I'm gonna excel into it. I'm gonna explore into it. I'm gonna make sure that I make it big as a, you can say, like a proper business. Be unique, be different, work towards this mentality only, that never give up, no matter how much money I have in future. So the next is a surprise, but in short, I would be excelling in the same field in which I am right now.
Nice.
And the concept of doing that is this, that I have so much which I haven't explored. I have a lot of hunger still.
Nice.
There's a lot more I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go big. That's how I don't manifest. This is how I'm gonna be. That's what I want, and I will make sure I do it for me and for the ones I love. So this is the goal, like you can say. And then, because you can never say that this is my goal and that is my goal. There are multiple goals.
It's always everlastingly changing. Yes. Absolutely, man.
So in my scenario, just like whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna excel into it. कहते ना घुस के फट जाना घुस के फटना है.
Very nice.
कोशिश मेरी पूरी है, and that's the only goal. अभी दिमाग में मेरे सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ है.
Very nice.
And मुझे लगता है कि अगर if I'm consistent towards it, जो कि बहुत मुश्किल काम होता है.
हाँ.
Because आपको within seconds आपको लगते हैं आजकल इधर-उधर भटकने में. With some other things going
distractions on. After distractions.
So I know there would be a lot of hardships I'm gonna face now. Way harder than I've ever imagined, but I know I will go through it.
My guy. Thank you so much for doing this for me. Thank you so much for stepping in on this podcast. I hope you people enjoyed this conversation, or I hope that you liked this conversation. This guy is somebody who is going to come back to this video, and I'm so happy now I get to put this on YouTube. I'm going to put it on YouTube, and it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to this, and inshallah, whenever we do come back to this, so whenever you get the time to just sit down, and if you really want to see yourself be inspired again, or if you ever feel like, are yaar, kale se baat karni hai, and I might not be available, to have a conversation with you, or I'm generally not there, then I would like you to come back to this video and give me some view time on it.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the best thing, because this thing does help you. आप अपनी कोई पुरानी चीज़, ऐसी जो चीज़ आपको मोटिवेट करे, या कोई ऐसी चीज़ जो आपको एक बूस्टर दे, it does help.
Absolutely.
If you made this podcast, I'm sure there would be a lot of things which I don't like by myself, or वैसे भी when you see yourself, you don't like yourself.
Yeah.
But there would be a lot of things which you will see, because this is what I've learned in life, that whenever you go low in life, always go and have a look at whatever the best you have done in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the morale which
keeps you going. Yeah, it just keeps you going. It keeps you floating.
That's how it is.
And that's how it's going to be, man.
Yeah. So guys, I'm really, really happy to be here. This is my first ever podcast, and I don't have words. मैंने क्या भंड मारे क्या नहीं मारे, but I'm really, really, really happy, and I pray that Dwayne gets all the success. He finally is the one who's doing it, rather than people talking about it, but he's doing it. So all I want from you guys is, guys, go like, share, subscribe. This guy is the next, high-end podcast guy who will host the best of the best podcast. I'm sure one day, Dwayne, you will have the best of the best people in your podcast, and
Inshallah.
the whole agenda and the whole purpose of this podcast is you give them knowledge. People can relate with you. People come and talk about reality, what exactly is going on, rather than it's. And by the way, none of this is scripted, guys. I'm telling you, this is all coming from my heart. When a band bhi marange, I don't care, but this is all. It is what it is, guys. So don't.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. And I would like to just say to all the viewers that are watching and that who are paying attention that there's no script. There's no reason for a script, because it's about time you guys understand that there are real people in this world that have real stories. And there are some good stories, and there are stories that matter, and there are stories that make a difference. And if you want to watch more, then let's get to work.